Welcome to Spotlight. I'm Hale Walker, and my guest today is the Mayor of Port Huron, Pauline Repp. And sponsoring today's show is our friends at Semco Energy Gas Company. Pauline, thanks very much for being with us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
So before we get into everything that's going on in Port Huron, I've got to tell you, I love the new signage. Tell us about it. How did it come about? Because it really does jump out and grab you.
Oh, it really does. And it was, I think last night it started being lit up. And it's part of what we want. We've been looking at gateway signs for a long time, but we were able to get some money out of our ARPA funds to help us pay for those. So I think they're going to be a nice addition to the city.
It's terrific, as we push for people to come visit the area and really find this undiscovered beauty that we have here. It makes it a lot easier knowing where we are with the signage.
Not only directionally, but it's kind of like that wow factor that you get when you come into a community as to whether or not they're prosperous or not.
Yeah, so this is just one of so many exciting things that we've got going. So why don't you sort of take over and tell us what's going on in the city?
Well, we do have a lot of exciting things going on. Well, one of the issues coming up is we've talked about selling our City Hall, Municipal Office Center, which is on the waterfront, obviously, and has to go to a vote of the people. That's going to happen the first week of May. And if it sells, then that will be new additional housing. It'll be condos. And that's going to bring us tax base, and it's going to be a wonderful place for people to live. So, of course, that means we don't have a home, so
sure.
We will be looking for another home. But that has not been decided yet because we can't look into it too much until we know whether or not the voters approve selling the building. It will not be a new building. We will not build a new building. It will be something that we retrofit.
So I've got to think that that's going to be relatively easy to the voters because of that. You're being very fiscally responsible by saying that we're going to move away from the water. That's
Correct.
A very lucrative piece of property, and we're going to go to something that's not new construction, something that we're going to revitalize within the city.
Absolutely, and it has been a criticism of people over the years that why do we have City Hall on the water?
Sure.
So I would think it would pass because it does. It's obviously not tax base right now. It will be. And it will provide more living, which is, of course, good for our downtown and good for our city because we are short on housing in the city.
Sure.
And so it will be, we do have a developer that's approached us and wants to do it. So that's a good thing. And this is not a new thing. It's been going on for years that we've been trying to do this. So that's one thing. Of course, right now we're in the process of working on our budgets, and that'll be coming up in the next month or so. And on that same election, there is the renewal of our millages for parks, which was 1 mill, and police and fire, which was 3 mills. And we've very grateful to the residents for approving those over the past 5 years, and we're looking for a renewal. It has given us the ability to revamp our parks, which we're very proud of, and that's one of the things that has been happening recently. All of the parks, Sanborn, Gratiot Avenue Park, Knoxfield, Haynes Park, all of those have flourished in the last little while. We have new equipment in there, state of the art and ADA accessible, and then the new pedestrian. I'm kind of rambling, but it's like I start thinking about all the things. The pedestrian bridge going between the two schools up there over the canal is a nice addition, which is not all of the city of Port Huron. Obviously, there's been a lot of contributions, Community Foundation, Ralph Wilson Foundation, a lot of places. But I think that's one of the good things over the years, we've had a lot of cooperative partnerships.
Yeah, and that's an understatement.
Yes.
The things that you've said so far that's jumping out at me that the viewers need to realize is, one, when you go for the millage, it's renewal, so we're not asking for more money. You're asking them just to continue what you have. And then the assets that you have that manage that process. Your recreation department really has hit home run after home run within the entire city.
Yes.
It covers every part of it.
Yeah. We've done a lot on the 16th Street. They put a new wiffle ball in there, and they're looking at some other improvements, of which we just got a Spark grant for. And the millage has helped us leverage those things along with the foundations that have contributed, because we couldn't do it on our own. And so we're very grateful that the citizens have approved that, as well as police and fire. because that's a 3 mil renewal, and we were at a point where if we didn't get that millage, we would have had to have cut the services down, like by laying off officers or firefighters, and certainly, you know, the one job the city has is to take care of our residents and provide them with safe community. And so we, you know, have a new fire station that's being built on 10th and White, and that's coming along really good for anybody who's driven by there. It's quite a project.
Yeah, you can definitely see something's happening.
Yeah, and that's about a $10 million project, but that's being bonded out. It's not part of this millage or anything like that. That's a separate bond issue. But we did have to do that because the River Street Fire Station, there's a lot of issues with the foundation. It's kind of crumbling, and they looked at it, and it was going to cost almost as much to rehab that one as it was to move. And we owned the property over on 10th Street, so it made sense to, they did a lot of studies to make sure that the response times were all within reason, the same as they are now. And then we'll have that property that will be able to develop sometime in the future. So I don't know what's going to go there, and we don't know that either. And of course, but at this point, it's still going to be probably another year before they move into that. So,
Mayor, thanks for that information. And I can't close without asking you about the recent loss of our dear friend Jim Atchison and his effect on the city of Port Huron.
well, Jim, that's going to be quite a loss. I mean, he has put his heart and soul into Port Huron. He has contributed in ways that people don't even realize, and certainly he redeveloped the south end of Port Huron with the property there, the Desmond Landing and all of that. He'll be sorely missed, but I'm sure that he has left behind, you know, his legacy, and we have some things in the works to honor that legacy, so that should be coming up shortly, so keep it as a secret right now.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for spending time with us today.
Oh, you're welcome.
And thank you for staying tuned to Thumb Coast TV as we spotlight nonprofits and economic development in the Blue Water area. I'm Hale Walker, and this is Spotlight.